What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiance Season 11, Episode 13, Love by Any Other Name. And before we get into the episode, I just want to first take this time to say Happy Mother's Day to all of you out there. If you are a mother, a grandmother, an auntie, a sister, a cousin, a neighbor, a friend, anyone who has shown any love to a child, who has been there for a child, I just want to tell you Happy Mother's Day, and I hope that you had a great, fantastic day. I had a great, fantastic day with my own kiddos. Everything was going great until about 7 p.m. when I had to sit down and watch 90 Day Fiance. And yeah, all the fun was gone after that because this episode was long and boring and very difficult to get through. Let's talk about Matt, Ammani, and Anie. So Matt and Ammani are still in Mexico. They are still talking to Ray. Now, Ray is Anie's ex-boyfriend. And they're talking to Ray because the reason why Ray is even in the picture is because whenever Matt and Ammani would send money to Anie from the United States, they would send it to Ray because he's an American citizen and he has an American bank account. And I guess it was easier for them to transfer money to Ray's American bank account, and he was then able to give the money to Anie. I'm assuming that's what they were talking about. I have no idea what they're talking about, why they couldn't send money to Anie directly through Western Union or MoneyGram. I don't know why they had to go through a third party. None of this makes any sense to me. So I'm still sticking to what I said originally. These people are not even real. This is not a real situation. These are paid actors who are put on this show just for dramatic effect. So Ray tells them that he found out about them through social media, not even through Anie. He found out about Matt and Ammani through social media. So Matt and Ammani are like, what? Social media? Not from Anie saying that she's in a serious relationship with us, that she's about to be married to us, that we are planning on taking her to the United States. Ray was like, no, I don't know nothing about any of that. I found out about y'all through social media. So then he gives them his background of him and Anie. He says that he met Anie back in 2022. He said that they had broken up somewhere around Christmas time. He met all of her kids. So when he said that he met all of her children, because she's got a total of 3 kids, I think. We've only met the youngest, but she does have 2 older kids. And so Matt and Ammani are like, oh, you met all of her kids? Because I guess they were like, you've gone further with her than we have because we have yet to meet her other children. We've only met her youngest. So Ray says that he met her at a strip club, just like them. They met her at a strip club as well. And then he knew her as Brenda. So Matt and Ammani are shocked. They're like, what? Her name is Brenda? And Ray's like, well, that's the name on her ID. I knew her as Brenda. Matt and Ammani tell Ray that they were planning on marrying Anie. They tell Ray that the 2 of us have to get a divorce in order for Matt to marry Anie, apply for the K-1 visa, and then we start the process of trying to bring her to the United States and, marry her. We've introduced her to our children. We've, incorporated her into our family. This is a serious thing for us. And Ray was actually shocked. He was like, oh, I thought she was with y'all just for fun. I had no idea this was like a serious type of a situation here. So Ray tells them that Anie Brenda is still not even divorced from her husband. She's legally married to somebody. I don't know if it's the father of her youngest child or who, but she's legally married to somebody. The divorce process has started, but it's not finalized yet. It's still going on. And so Matt and Ammani are even more shocked about this piece of news because they're like, here we are talking about us getting a divorce so that we can marry her. And she's not even divorced from her own husband. And she has yet to tell us this. So Ammani is pissed. Matt is pissed. So Ammani calls Anie Brenda and invites her to join them. And when Ammani greets her, she greets her by her government name. And she's like, well, hello, Brenda. And Anie Brenda just like froze in her tracks when Ammani called her by her government name. She just kind of like froze as she was about to give her a kiss. And that's where their segment ended. None of this is surprising or shocking to me. Like I said, I don't think that this is a real situation. I think this is really trumped up by the producers. They hired some people to play these characters for this show. I don't believe that Matt and Ammani are going to get a divorce so that Matt can marry Anie. I don't think that Anie has any intentions of going to the United States. I think that Anie, her only intention was to goop these people out of their money. She found some gullible Americans who were mesmerized by her looks, who became sexually attracted to her. That developed feelings on their end, but not on Anie's end, because Anie, this is just transactional for her. This is just business. This is how she survives. And so she has no intentions of going to the United States. I don't know why, if any of this is real or genuine in any shape or form, I don't know why Matt and Ammani would believe that they can find a good, wholesome woman to join their family in California, help raise their children. I don't know why they would think that they would just happen to come across this woman in a strip club. I'm not downplaying or coming down hard on sex workers. I'm just saying that if you had the intention of bringing someone into your home to help you raise your children, the first place you would not go wouldn't be a strip club. I don't understand what they're doing. I don't know how you go to a strip club and you meet a woman and you want to have a little bit of fun with her, and then how that turns into, we want you to come with us back to America and bring your child with us and help us raise our kids and be one big. I just don't know how you make that leap. I don't know. None of this is making any sense to me. Absolutely zero sense. I don't understand. And another thing, on top of everything else, Matt, Ammani, and Anie Brenda do not belong on this show. If anything, if any of this is real, they belong on 90 Day Fiance before the 90 days. I've said this before in my previous review. They belong on before the 90 days, not on this one. This is the show where the visa has been approved. The person who lives outside the United States has arrived in the United States, and now the people have 90 days to get married. Why are they on this show? I don't get it. I don't understand. I need TLC to give me a call. Let me know, like, why would you put these people on this particular franchise? It doesn't make any sense. Moving on to Monty and Stevie. Y'all, I am so sick and tired of Monty and Stevie and their lame storyline of whether or not Stevie is bisexual or not. This is something that could have been squashed within 15 seconds, literally. Marty asks Stevie, "Are you bisexual?" She either says yes or she says no, and then we move on from there. Why is this being drawn out over 9 weeks of whether or not she's bisexual? Him trying to figure out if she's bisexual. I don't understand. I don't know why the producers are telling Stevie, because it has to be the fault of the producers. Why are they telling Stevie, don't give him a straight answer? Beat around the bush. Drag this out as long as you possibly can. It's not that interesting. It's really not that interesting. We are ready for them to move on to the next level of their relationship, but they're stuck on whether or not she's bisexual. It's not that interesting. It's not as interesting as I think it is. So Monty and Stevie, they're in New Orleans. Okay, on their way to New Orleans, Monty is so excited. He's like, Sin City, here we come. They get to New Orleans, right? And she tells him that they're going to be, because they're celebrating their bachelor and bachelorette party. They're going to have a dual bachelorette party. So when they get to New Orleans, she tells Monty that they're going to be going to a burlesque show. And Marty asks her, is there going to be nudity? And she's like, I don't know. There may be full nudity, there may be half nudity, there may be no nudity at all. I have no idea. So Marty talks about how he's very uncomfortable with this. And I'm like, Marty, why are you uncomfortable with this? You are so excited about Sin City. What do you think goes on? What kind of sin do you think takes place in Sin City? Like, I don't understand. You're like, ooh, Sin City. Now you're in Sin City. Now you're like, scared out of your mind that you're going to see possibly a naked woman or a half naked woman at a burlesque show. Am I I don't know. I thought burlesque, they don't go completely nude, but I'm not really sure. So I don't know. Either way, why are you worried, Marty? I mean, y'all, I didn't understand why he was concerned. Like, what type of sin do you think happens in Sin City? So while they're there, he meets up with a friend of his named Saeed. Now, Saeed is someone that he met online in his English teaching classes or something. Because remember, Marty and Stevie met when Stevie was teaching him English, I think, on an online English class. And so that's how he met Saeed. So him and Saeed have a chance to talk alone, and they're talking about Marty's concern about Stevie possibly being bisexual. And Saeed takes this and he runs with it. And he's like, oh my God, I'm so worried about you, friend. If you marry her, you might find out that she is into women and then you're going to be trapped. You're going to be stuck in this marriage. If you find out that, and all this, like, he really, like, drives it home for Marty to be worried about Stevie. Instead of alleviating his fears and his concerns, he makes them even worse. And so he says, because, once you marry her, you're stuck. So whatever you find out about her after the marriage, you're stuck with her because it's going to be really hard to get out of it. So at some point, they all three go for a walk, and Saeed and Stevie have a chance to talk alone. And Saeed tells Stevie that he tells her that first he asks her, like, how are things going? How's your family taking all of this? And Stevie said that, my dad was the last to know because I kept it a secret from my dad until the very last minute that I was getting married to Marty. And so Saeed tells us that this is like a red flag for him. Like, oh my God, this woman is so secretive. She's so secretive about her sexuality, and she's so secretive about not telling her dad about Marty until the very last minute. This is a big concern. And so he tells Stevie that she's being very selfish because Marty has sacrificed so much more than her. He's given up his country. He's given up, being with his family to come here to the United States to be with her, and calling her selfish. And Stevie is like, this man doesn't even know me. This is the first time he's laid eyes on me. And he's passing all kinds of judgment about me being selfish and not appreciating Marty. It made no sense. It made absolutely no sense that a complete stranger would unload all of this on Stevie. And I thought that he would have been like other friends on this show, where he would just been like, after Marty told him, hey, I have concerns about her sexuality, I thought he would have just been like, okay, have a conversation with her. I don't know what else to tell you, but I'm out of it. But no, he dug himself even deeper into their issues. It just didn't make any sense that he would have told a complete stranger, oh, you're so selfish and you haven't sacrificed as much as he has, and what's wrong with you? I didn't get that at all. I didn't understand, which makes me think that this whole bisexuality storyline is just that, a storyline. It's not real. Marty really doesn't have any concerns about her sexuality. I think that this is something that is trumped up by the producers to make them interesting, because they're not. There's nothing else going on with them other than, is she or isn't she a bisexual? And that's just so crazy. These people are about to get married, and this man is hung up on this. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, why can't you just tell him whether you are or you're not? And why has this been drug out for so long? Why haven't y'all resolved this? It's very, very simple to resolve. If anything, she could have said to him, yes, I'm bisexual. Yes, I have an interest in women. Yes, I'm attracted to women, but I'm with you. And I want to be with you. I don't want to be with anybody else, male or female. I just want to be with you. Or, no, I'm not. Why is this still a conversation 9 weeks later? I don't get it. So it's just trumped up for a storyline. They don't have any issues. They don't have any concerns. They're perfectly okay. It's just a made up storyline. Mark and Mina, they have 11 days to get married, y'all. 11 days. So they are celebrating Mark's 59th birthday. He says he's 59, but he feels 39. I guess that gives him an excuse to date much younger women. Mina's sister is going to be coming, and she will stay until their day of their wedding. And after the sister arrives at some point, her brother is supposed to be coming with her son, Clayton. Now, Clayton, his journey to America has been held up because it's taken forever for him to get a passport. So there's a delay in that. So Mina doesn't want to get married until she knows no, let me take that back. Mina doesn't want to get married without her son Clayton being there. So if Clayton is unable to come to the United States, she's not going to get married. And of course, Mark thinks this is silly. And he's like, well, if you're going to have to go back, if you're not going to get married because your son isn't able to come, then you're going to have to go back to France because your visa is going to expire. And if you have to go back to France, Maria's staying with me. So that adds all kinds of stress on Mina. She starts crying again. It's like, we cannot have an episode without Mina crying about something. So she starts crying again. I guess she feels like, I'm always losing a child. Either I'm here with Maria and not with Clayton, or I go back to France and be with Clayton and I can't be with Maria. I don't know what's going on. So they're in Boston to celebrate Mark's birthday. And while they're there, Mina tells him that she will sign the prenup if and only if he agrees to adopt Clayton. So he was like, yeah, of course I'm going to adopt Clayton. Like, that was never an issue. Yes, I'm going to adopt him. I love him as my own. I tell my family that I have 4 kids, instead of just 3. Yes, I will adopt Clayton. I don't have an issue with that. And he gets really emotional talking about Clayton, talking about how he really wants to be that father figure, that role model, and that he really does see him as a son. Now, this is where I have fault with the show, because for him to say this and for him to get emotional, to me, it seemed like him and Clayton already have a bond, which is something that they completely left out up until now. Because I'm thinking he must have strong feelings for this child to be willing to adopt him without any concerns, without conversation about it, without going back and forth about it. He must already have very deep feelings for this child. But the show didn't showcase that. I didn't know. I mean, maybe other people knew, but I didn't know. And so when she had brought this up last week, when she met with her neighbors and was telling her neighbors, hey, he needs to adopt my child if I'm going to sign the prenup, I thought she was going to use that as leverage for him to adopt her child. I had no idea that her son and Mark already have this bond with one another. They must have a bond for him to be so willing to adopt her without even thinking about it, because his family, I feel like, would have an issue with him adopting Clayton. I don't know if they know that he had planned to do this or not. I don't know, because his family's having an issue with him having another baby with Mina. So if they have an issue with him having another one of his own biological children, would they not have an issue with him adopting Clayton? I don't know what the hell is going on. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of hidden agendas on this show that none of this is making any sense. So obviously, Mark and Clayton must have some type of a relationship for him to so freely want to adopt him, which is a great thing, because it might make the whole immigration process easier for him if he wants to adopt this little boy, for him being Clayton, if he wants to adopt this little boy. And I really want to know, how does his family feel about this? Are they okay with this? Do they know this? Do they know that Mark and Clayton already had a bond and that the next natural step would be for him to adopt Clayton? So that was really interesting, but I'm glad that he's willing to adopt the child, because it's great that the child is going to be included and feel included in this family. Moving on to Juan and Jessica. Juan and Jessica also have a dual bachelorette party. It was so boring as hell. The bachelor party was so boring to the point that Juan brought up the cruise ship calling him. He went out to the bachelor party um with what's her name? Megan's husband and his own cousin. So he's at the club or wherever the hell he's at. The girls are taking off their clothes, doing these dances in front of him, and he's like, "Hey, by the way, the cruise ship called me." It's like, do you not see this half-naked woman in front of you? Anywho, so he starts talking about the cruise ship and how they called him and how he really wants to go back on the cruise, to work on the cruise, to make some quick money, make a lot of money. And they're basically like, well, you're gonna have to talk about that with Jessica. So he gets home, he brings it up to Jessica. Jessica gives him an ultimatum: either the cruise ship or your family, but you can't have both. So she says that whenever he's on this cruise ship, he's gone for 10 months out of the year, and he's only home for 2 months. And so she's like, I'm not going to put my sons through that, or their son together. I'm not going to put them through that. He needs you here around the clock 24/7. It's not going to be fair for our son for you to be gone 10 months out of the year, because by the time he turns 10, you'd have only spent 12 months with him in total. So I'm not going to accept you getting on that cruise ship. So either you leave us alone and get on your cruise ship and go about your merry way, or you forget about the cruise ship and you stay with us and figure something else out here. So that's where he's at. Sarper and Shakina, y'all, I don't have time. I don't have time for Sarper and Shakina. I really don't. Sarper has a comedy show. Shakina's there. Her little friend group is there, including Dan. He gets on stage. Sarper gets on stage. All of his jokes are very sexual. He throws digs at Dan in his routine. Dan is pissed off. He doesn't think it's funny at all. Sarper got a few laughs in the crowd. There were no knee slapping type of jokes, but he got a few chuckles here and there. it wasn't the worst thing that could have happened to him, but it could have been better. Sarper's excuse is that Turkish sense of humor doesn't translate very well to an American audience. So that's why, there wasn't a lot of laughter. People don't get his jokes. I don't know if that's the case or not. All I know is I see Sarper, instead of doing comedy, I see him doing those male review shows like Chippendale, Thunder Down Under in Las Vegas. He's got the body for it. He's got the personality for it. Um, I don't know why he doesn't try to do that. I think he's still within that age group. Well, where he can still do it very well. He's not too damn old. He's got a nice body. I don't know why he doesn't do that. I could see him with like a little bow tie around his neck, shirtless, gyrating and grinding on stage, flirting with the women. I don't know why he doesn't just do that. I don't get why he wants to do this comedy knowing that he doesn't really understand American humor and Americans don't really understand Turkish humor. It was a little bit cringy watching him up there. It was a little bit cringy because his jokes are long. It's like it takes forever to get to the damn punchline. And then he was throwing digs at Dan. And I don't know what the hell's going on, y'all. There's nothing else to say about it. Anywho, thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.